I'm going to share a video with you people that I've recently stumbled across. It is remarkably similar. The way it is structured, the way it is put together, it is so remarkably similar to what I have come to view the tribulation, although this particular person will refer to it as the imminent economic crash. But didn't Tony Morris refer to it recently as the imminent Great Tribulation? But look at the 10 reasons and the 10 things that you must be on your guard against, for things will happen quickly when it does go down, and it's only those that are pre-prepared that are likely to go on the longest. Now, I do have friends that worry about this, as do I, and I've not made any preparations at this point now for when it does happen. But please look at this video. He puts it together in a really professional way. He doesn't over glamorize it. I believe he's just telling the absolute truth as far as it probably will unfold. So yes, please look at it, people, and then share it. That would be great.
Reasons why we need to prepare for an economic collapse. 1. Food shortages can actually happen. Most people assume they will always be able to run out to their local supermarket or warehouse club. Those of us that prepare know better. It is those folks that do not prepare that we need to worry about. 2. Medicine is one of the first things that becomes scarce during an economic collapse. When credit systems and distribution channels are compromised, medical supplies will not make their way to the local pharmacy. Any medicines and supplies that are available will likely be diverted for use by the power elite. Sorry to be such a cynic, but we all know that there are privileged classes that have the power and the means to get whatever they want, even if it means denying the rest of the population with their fair share. 3. When an economy collapses, so might the power grid. No work to pay workers and no fuel to fire the grid translates into no grid at all. Going without power for a week or two is one thing, but going off grid for months or even years? We are a soft society accustomed to our comforts. Without the grid, our lives will be quite different than the life we live today. 4. During an economic collapse, you cannot even take water for granted. When the grid goes down, so does the water treatment facilities that ensure that clean water flows from our faucets. I survived 12 days without running water. Doable? Yes. Fun? Hardly. But I knew the water would come back on eventually. What if the water never came back on? 5. During an economic crisis, your credit cards and debit cards may stop working. Same thing. If the grid is down, our banking system will basically be down too. This means that credit cards and debit cards will be useless to transact business and make purchases. 6. Crime, rioting, and looting become commonplace during an economic collapse. This is not a maybe. The haves will need to defend their property from the have-nots. I also suspect that the haves, also known as preppers, may have to defend themselves from government looters. It will be every man or woman on their own defending what is theirs. The young and healthy might be able to handle this, but what about the elderly, the sick, and the disabled? Even if they prep, how will they defend themselves? 7. During a financial meltdown, many average citizens will start bartering. Without credit cards, debit cards, and quite possibly currency, a barter economy will emerge. By the way, the best description I have read relative to how such an economy will work was James Wesley Rawles' book, Patriots. Things will definitely fall apart during an economic collapse. Having supplies, and especially skills to barter with, will not be an option. 8. Suicides spike during an economic collapse. This happened in the 30s and it will happen again. When people no longer have hope, they feel that life is not worth living. My guess is people will start jumping out of buildings and may take family members with them in a suicide pact. 9. Your currency may rapidly lose value during an economic crisis. Let me take this one step further. Your currency will lose value during an economic collapse. It happened in Germany during the Weimar Republic, and it's happened more recently elsewhere around the globe. We are not immune to runaway inflation coupled with devaluation of our currency. 10. When things hit the fan, the government will not save you. If you think that the government will come to the rescue of those that are suffering, think again. Remember the aftermath of Katrina. Remember Superstorm Sandy. It is foolhardy to believe that government assistance of any type will become available following a collapse. History has demonstrated over and over again that governments cannot be counted on when things hit the fan. You will be on your own, so you better be ready mentally to accept that reality and the tough times that will ensue. The final word. If you have made it this far, you might be thinking, we know all of that. That is why we prep. Agreed, I am preaching the choir. But that being said, the overwhelming ramification of having all of these things happen at once will be a blow to the psyche that is of greater magnitude than anything you can imagine. Think about it. To prevail following a collapse, you will still need to get up in the morning, go about your chores, and go about the business of living. This is gonna take a level of fortitude that I cannot fathom. Heck, there are some days during these modern, comfortable times that I can barely face the day and all of its challenges. So where do we go from here? What solutions are there to get you through to that mental place you know you will need to go to? 3 things you need to remember are: 1. Only you can be counted on to take care of yourself and your family. 2. Learning coping skills during times of calm will give you a heads up on coping during times of crisis. 3. Give yourself permission to worry, to be concerned, and to be a bit afraid. This will keep you alert and on your toes at all time. At the end of the day, those that prepare will be in it for the ride. The real question is whether we have the mental fortitude to get there without losing our path along the way. Enjoy your next adventure through common sense and thoughtful preparation.
It's quite worrying, isn't it? It's well put together, but it's most certainly worrying. The fact that nobody will come to your aid, that you can only rely on yourself. This is why I feel as if people will form small groups and packs. And within these small groups, they will have to trust each other implicitly. How is someone going to take something off you if what they're trying to take off you is the means for you to stay alive? What do you think you're going to do? You're going to fight to the end. Will you actually have to learn how to take someone's life? Because if you don't, they will take your life. It's very, very worrying. The question is, do you believe it's coming? Do you believe that this economic crash that the world refers to is the tribulation? I mean, the cards are all in place, certainly. The economies of the world are certainly struggling. And it is only going to take a major player for it all to go down. Now, I openly admit to you that I'm not prepared. I haven't got extra food in. I haven't got a secret cupboard back in my kitchen where I'm hoarding a load of water and cans. But that might change. I may go out over the next 2 weeks and look at getting some supplies in and going and hiding them somewhere, probably not in the house, but somewhere else. Now, I did say to you that I didn't really want to live during the Great Tribulation period, and that I was thinking of taking the easy way out, the coward's way out. Now, apparently, I kind of believe that millions of people will do that. Now, I did some research on the Great Depression, and there is a popular opinion that 7 million people took their lives. That was the Great Depression. The Great Tribulation, you could probably times that by many thousands. There could possibly be up to 1 billion people that might take their life. Because the alternative is that, what, you starve to death, you're in darkness during the night, you don't have heating. Nobody's going to want to live in a world like that. Maybe that's why Jehovah says that unless he cuts short the days of man, no flesh survives. Because really, that's a perfect recipe, isn't it, for the extinction of man? Very pessimistic subject this, but I can't help but feel that we are getting close to that period. So, need to share it, you know. We need to be more prepared than we are now. We mustn't be ostriches and bury our head in the sand like my sister does. She just thinks that everything's going to go on and on and on, and that nothing's going to change. And I told her, no, I think things are going to change quite drastically. Now, with thousands of people on YouTube who are not all that religious are preparing for the economic crash, and they call themselves preppers, then does that not put more weight and argument into what theologians throughout history have been saying regarding the last days? So I just want to put that last little poser to you. And thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing this video as well with me. Goodbye.